Hello, I'm Super Orange Cat. I just watched the last episode of season 26 of South Park entitled Spring Break. It just aired on Comedy Central. So I'm going to go things I liked about this episode, then some of the things I didn't necessarily like about this episode, and then tied up with a big old bow at the end. Now, what I liked about this episode is mostly the first half of the Garrison going to Myrtle Beach plotline, because the whole idea of him being tempted to go back into President Garrison mode to rally was shot akin to someone who's addicted to going to the club or the strip club, as evidence from specifically the music that was playing inside the MAGA store and the music that was played at that one the penthouse of that hotel where he was like rallying. And honestly, the highlight of this episode was actually almost towards the end of that plot line, where you had Mr. Garrison in the bathroom and the guy tapped his foot, which, if you've ever been in a men's bathroom, you probably know what that normally means, which I can't say because I'm probably in the first 90 seconds of this video still. But you see this shot of Rick coming into the bathroom because Mr. Garrison was taking long. And then you see the shot almost as if what normally happens when someone taps their foot underneath the stall door was happening, but really is him just campaigning, talking about like abortion and stuff. With the other guy like getting into it, and he's like super buff too, and he had like the 2024 like tattoo on his foot. I thought that was really funny, especially how it was shot and how they're making it being like, oh, addicted to someone who's addicted to easy, cheap sex, who's trying to stick it out in a relationship. And then the ending of that was just kind of this whole boring, like, oh, this public moment, the person finally realizes what was most important to them, which you've seen in so many TV shows and movies. And then, like, the whole idea of it was like he loved Rick so much that the people did January 6th again, I guess is what they're going for. At least that was better than the B plotline this episode. B plotline was the same joke over and over and over again. It was Randy being like, yeah, spring break, no girls, we need to do guy stuff, but like Stan and Tolkien just want to play Warhammer the whole time. And then like Randy making an ass of himself, which is what you can nearly say for every plot line Randy Marsh has ever been involved in. And it was just the same joke of like, oh, they're ruining boyhood, they're ruining masculinity. And at some point he gets Andrew Tate involved. And Andrew Tate's like, oh sure, I could totally party here. And then like there's a shootout with the cops, but like the party continues. And the whole joke was like, oh, Randy does this every year because Sharon's like, oh, at least you made it longer than last year. And that was just the plot. It's a B plot, so you don't expect as much meat on the bone as the A plot. And the A plot had much more meat on it, for sure. And the A plot definitely had more highlights. Like I said, the whole illusion of Mr. Garrison just going back into campaign mode, which was a reference to Donald Trump announcing his run for the presidency in 2024. And it's weird because they end this plot line as if Mr. Garrison's like, oh, I'm just going to go back to Mr. Garrison stuff. But next year, when season 27 will likely air in the spring, is going to be right in the heat of primary season. So I can't imagine, as long as, at least if Donald Trump is still running at that point, that they wouldn't have like Mr. Garrison debating against like Ron DeSantis. Imagine like Mr. Mackey is like turns into like Ron DeSantis or something. He's like, I'm the governor of Florida, I'm going. And I cleaned up that state, I'm going. I got Miami-Dade County to vote for me, I'm going. Or something like that. They'll probably they have a whole year to create those jokes. They'll do much better than me in like 6 seconds. But what do you guys think? I thought honestly this might have been the weakest episode of the season, which is a damn shame because this is the last episode of season 26. I would give this a 6 out of 10. It's not a bad episode. It's definitely not an episode I'm going to be ranking among the worst of the worst. It's definitely better than the whole serialization era. And honestly, it's almost refreshing to have a plot involving the marshes that the whole Tegrity Farms doesn't really come into play. So that's kind of refreshing in a way, you know? But what do you guys think? Leave your comments, leave your pins down below. If you like this, if you like South Park content like this, please subscribe and comment, of course. I am Super Orange Cat, and that is all.